Hello, 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 everybody. Marcos Viegas here. Welcome to the Fight Up TV live chat. I'm going to give you guys a second to go ahead and filter in and join the live chat. We're going to be going over a variety of topics. Box Talk 101. What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for joining us. We're going to go over a variety of topics that happened over the weekend in the world of combat sports. We're going to go ahead and recap the action with Daniel Jacobs and Luis Cubas, Arias, Artur Beterbiev, Jose Ramirez, some of the videos that we posted up as well. We're going to go over and just a general chat about anything you guys want to talk about. Ahmed Saeed, thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. What's up, brother? So I'm going to give you guys a little bit to go ahead and filter in. Peanut butter and crackers. Love your name, bro. Thanks for tuning in. Going to give you guys a second to trickle in here, and we'll go ahead and start recapping everything that happened over the weekend. And some good fights, actually. Though I think, I expected a little bit more in terms of the action that we actually did see. Before we begin, I just want to make sure, if you guys are not following us on social media, go ahead and give us a follow at Fight Hub TV on Twitter and Instagram, and at Hey It's Marcos V, which is me myself, on my Twitter and Instagram as well. Go ahead and like us on Facebook too, or Fight Up TV on Facebook and Twitter. Just uploaded a video here. I just want to make sure that it uploads correctly on our Facebook. Let's see here. Okay, the post didn't go through. That's stupid Facebook. I hate Facebook sometimes. Alright, guys. Well, let's go ahead and start. Reading some of the comments you guys are putting in here. Liquid Crack, Peanut Butter and Jelly, Phil Joyce, Carnales Flows, Wickedy, Gary. Thank you guys all for tuning in. And we're going to go ahead and get this live chat Q&A started, man. First off, I'm going to go ahead and recap the action that happened over the weekend as I adjust my cushions here because I'm an old man and I have back problems now, which sucks. Nole Austin, what up, man? Takva, what's up? Thanks for joining us. We're about to begin now the discussion of the weekend action. Danny Jacobs making his return fight since his fight with Gennady Golovkin, taking on Luis Cuba Arias in a fight where, honestly, Arias wasn't really well known. There wasn't a lot of buzz for it. People weren't too excited, given that Danny went from Peter Quillen to Sergio Mora to Gennady Golovkin to Luis Cuba Arias. So there wasn't a lot of eyes on it. Not a lot of buzz social media wise. But I did watch it because Danny Jacobs is a good guy and an elite fighter. Chosen One, what up, man? I'm good, man. Just recapping the action that happened over the weekend. And we'll get out to your guys' questions. Right now, no, I am not drinking a beer. I'm drinking a Rockstar. Man, I have a problem with energy drinks. I was hooked. I was drinking like 4 or 5 energy drinks a week. And I constantly felt like shit, man. I felt like I was addicted to these things because my body would crave the fizzy flavor, And I had to like almost cold turkey. Like I had to like cut it down to like 1 a week. And even now, I told myself I'd only have 1 energy drink a week, and it'd only be on the weekends. Had one yesterday because I was lagging in my workouts big time, and I need like a boost. And yeah, here I am today drinking one, man. So I kind of messed up. Trying to limit it to only one energy drink a week because these things are no, man. Those NitroFlex pre-workouts in general, man. I've never been really good with them, to be honest. I'd always take them. And I wouldn't have enough food in my system, and I'd feel like super fucking jittery, like I was going nuts. I just hate the feeling, and even now, if I take an energy drink, I still feel the same thing. And yeah, sometimes they are packed with sugar. I don't even know what the hell's in this thing right here. The one thing that sticks out with this energy drink is the sodium. 180 milligrams of sodium, which is bad. That means I'm going to retain a lot of the water. Sodium in general is not good for you. And I know these things are bad. These things are terrible for you. Yeah, I had a friend that worked for, actually, Almighty, he worked for Monster, and he always told me, he was there in the packing process. He worked for Monster for many, many years, and water. And he just told me this: the chemicals that they put in these energy drinks, extremely bad for you. They end up giving you kidney stones and a lot of kidney problems and stuff. And just got a text from Jose Limon. So if you're watching, Jose, what up, man? I can't read it right now because obviously we're live. But okay, kind of went on a tangent with energy drinks. I'm just trying to limit myself with the energy drinks. No, man, I drink the energy drinks to like get focused, to get shit done, because I procrastinate sometimes, you know, or I don't get shit done, and I need to get shit done. So yeah, that's my little energy drink rant. Bear with me, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, Danny Jacobs, Luis Cuba Arias. Okay, I wrote down my initial thoughts because I was looking at the other live chats we've done, and this is very helpful. My little notepad here. It helps me gather my thoughts. So here we go. Here are my thoughts on what happened over the weekend. Luis Arias doing a lot of talking in the build-up to this fight. Press conference, final press conference, fight week. We had a chance to get him in camp. So when the first 3 rounds happened in that fight, first thing that came to my mind was, damn, for all that shit you talked and all that stuff that you were saying that Danny Jacobs would be the one running around, not pressing the fight forward, not wanting to exchange, you're the one that's running around not exchanging with Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs was there in front of his face the whole entire night. Daniel Jacobs didn't move around, run around. So for all that talk that he was talking about, Daniel Jacobs was not going to fight him. He was going to run, and that if Daniel Jacobs did stay his ground and fight with them, he would knock him out. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Why aren't you fighting the way you said you were going to fight? So I just found it kind of funny that he was actually the one that moved around. A little pause there. Sorry about that, guys. We got a little pause there. I got a phone call, but Sweden just qualified for the World Cup. I've been watching the World Cup games. I think Italy is already... No, wow, I think this means Italy is eliminated for the World Cup. Holy shit. Nah, this can't be it. All right, if any of you guys are soccer fans, with this result, let me know if that means Italy is knocked out of the World Cup. Because if Italy is knocked out of the World Cup, then that's huge. But Sweden qualified for the World Cup. World Cup, soccer is probably the only other sport that I'm as passionate, or if not more passionate about, than boxing. With boxing, when I got into it, Italy's out? No way. There's no way that Italy... Wait. So I've been so busy with boxing that I've kind of been following the qualifications. I know these were like the secondary qualifications. Like they had to win games. So hold on. There's no way. Italy's out. Italy's fucking out. Holy shit. Dude, this is such a weird World Cup. Holy shit. Italy is... Wow. Dude, that's unimaginable that Italy is not in a World Cup. Weird year. The Netherlands don't qualify. United States doesn't qualify. Italy now doesn't qualify for the World Cup. That is crazy. And Sweden doesn't even have Zaltine on the squad right now. You're seeing the players are crying. This is it for Buffon internationally. That's Buffon's been in how many World Cups? Like 4 World Cups, I think, already. Wow. That is a surprising result. Sorry, this is a show of all of tangents right now, guys. Tangents. From energy drinks to boxing to soccer right now. Sorry about that, man. Definitely, Joe. Changing of the guard. Man, this is gonna be a weird dynamic. You know what? I hope this World Cup, 5 World Cups. That's right, 5 World Cups. Luigi Buffon. I just hope this World Cup has as many surprises as we've had in qualifications. And I always hate like picking who's gonna do well, because you don't start really seeing the teams come together until like the last, I think, 2 months before the World Cup, where they're doing all their friendlies, and you're starting to see now they're finally like meshing in as a team and all that. Obviously, Germany is always the favorite because the squad they put out is pretty much goddamn club team that they put out. That's one of the reasons why Spain won a World Cup. Gary, 60 years. Yeah, well, because they're always defense. They're always defensive minded, and they always say that. You know, they're defensive minded. They wait for the others to pull forward all their forwards, and they always are really good with the counterattack. Same with Holland. Holland has always been that. Holland always kills people on the counterattack, and it's always one-touch passes. Boom, boom, boom. 3 touches. Boom, boom, boom. And they always create opportunities there. But wow, what a crazy result. Let's get back to the fight. And I'm glad to see that there's a lot of you actually that are into soccer or football, which is known all over the world. And Mexico is doing really well, though I never have faith in Mexico in soccer, to be honest, because they always freaking choke. These guys have been choking since I was a little kid, man. Constant disappointment after disappointment after disappointment with that damn team. Where, like, I don't even have high expectations for them anymore. Everybody's, oh yeah, they're doing good. They got good players. No, man. I just... bad memories, and I just don't have high expectations with them because they always disappoint me. Always, all the time. And the one time where I thought they were actually not going to disappoint and actually live up to their potential, because they had badass players, really good players, was that World Cup in 2006 against Argentina, where Mexico just fucking came out like a bat out of hell. And they were pressing, and then the auto goal score. Freaking Borghetti with the auto goal. And then they come back, they score another goal, and then that guy, Jesus Christ, what was his name? He volleys and then freaking shoots the goal, scores on, God, what was his name? If you guys saw that game, Mexico versus Argentina in 2006, that was the goal of the tournament. But since then, I don't know. I just don't have faith in them. So now I only have one team to cheer for. So I'm going to have to, not be as much of a fan in terms of cheering, because I don't know what the hell I am. I know I'm Mexican. USA's out. So I only got one team to cheer for this upcoming World Cup. So probably going to say I'm Argentinian so I can cheer for Argentina. I really do hope that Messi wins the World Cup. I think, it's imperative for... Oh, here we go. The notable countries outside of the 2008 FIFA World Cup. Italy, the US, Netherlands, Chile, which is surprising because Chile did really, really well in the last World Cup. Really, really well in the Copa America Centenario. I believe Ivory Coast, which is surprising as well. And damn, I wish I had my remote. Okay, I just saw the graphic here. And the last, Ghana. Ghana usually goes to the World Cup too. To be honest, usually the African countries, it's Ghana, yeah, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, the Eagles. Man, I wonder, we'll see here, who's in Africa. Nigeria, Egypt, Senegal, Morocco, and Tunisia. Okay, that's a random group. In the Asian Pacific region, Iran, Japan, Korea, Saudi Arabia. Man, this is going to be a really weird World Cup. Really weird. No, Brazil's not out. Brazil's actually doing really, really well this time. But this is going to be a strange World Cup. You got a lot of new teams going in there, and just hope for a lot of upsets. That's all I hope for. All right. Back to boxing. Spence and Peterson are fighting in January. Let's see here. Mexican decide. That's a funny comment. All right, let's get back to boxing, guys. And no, that wasn't a penalty kick when Mexico played against Holland. I was in a bar full of Mexicans, and I got showered with beer when that happened. A lot of pissed off people. France versus Germany will probably be the final. I don't know. Who do I like better, Maradona or Messi? For me, Messi. For me, Messi is the best, most naturally talented player I've ever seen. And a close second to that, the only other guy that I've seen move the way that Messi moves or do things that are second nature to him is Ronaldinho. He's the only other guy that I've seen move the way that Messi does and do the things that Messi has done as well. But for me, Messi has to win a World Cup in order to be considered the best player in history. All these other guys that are in the discussion for best player ever, Pele, it's Pele and Maradona. Those two guys, they won a World Cup. To be considered the best in any fucking sport, you have to be a world champion. That's missing so far. And I know there's an argument between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi as to, between the two, who's the better. At this point in time, at the present, and I've thought about this in my head a lot of times because I was not a Ronaldo fan growing up. I used to dislike Cristiano Ronaldo a lot, big time. Because every game I'd see, he'd always be diving and always be crying and complaining that people would foul him. He would get a lot of fouls that he shouldn't get. But over time, he's really won me over as a fan. But at this point, Ronaldo makes a hell of a better argument that he's a better player at this point than Lionel Messi because he took his team to the European UEFA Finals and won a European Cup. And Lionel Messi's never won a championship on the international level with his team. And Ronaldo has. So that already puts him up there. So I think, it's now or never for Messi at this point. For him to be considered the greatest of all time, he has to go into this World Cup. And it has to be him with his team, of course. And Argentina has a dope fucking squad, too. Which... they have all these great individuals, just like England. England has all these great individuals, but they don't play like a team. They never play like a team, like a well-oiled machine. And coming into this World Cup, I think he always has a lot of pressure, but even more because he's getting old. He's at an age where this is probably going to be his last World Cup where he's at peak form, where he can still perform and go head-to-head with these guys that are 21, 22, and still be at the same level with them. So I'm really emotionally, I'm pulling for Messi to take this Argentina team and win the World Cup because I think it'd be a very tragic thing to see a guy as skilled naturally with the abilities that Lionel Messi has. And if you've been following soccer, this dude is not normal. Soccer players, football players do not move like Lionel Messi moves. This is not normal movement from soccer players. The things he does is not normal. And they come to him second nature. When you get... No, trust me, Luca, they'll be boxing. I'm just on a soccer rant right now because the World Cup qualifying just happened. Sweden, without Zaltin, qualified the World Cup. Italy is not in the World Cup. But it'd just be a tragedy for someone like Lionel Messi with all that talent, all that skill to not win a World Cup. And because of that, he gets dismissed as not being in the conversation with one of the greatest players of all time or in the echelon of a Maradona or Pele, whom won World Cups. And that's the main thing. Beckenbauer won World Cup. Zinedine Zidane won a World Cup. All these players that are in that discussion, and at the very top, Pele and Maradona, they won World Cups. It's a prerequisite to be in that discussion. You have to win a World Cup. You can't be like the Buffalo Bills of soccer. The bridesmaid, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And that's Messi at this point. Never won an international major championship win with his international squad. And, you can make an argument, tons of stuff, but he just hasn't been able to do it with Argentina, and now is the time for him to do it. He has to make it happen in this World Cup because this is his last legit chance where we're going to see him in his prime play the way he plays. Chubby Ronaldo. I remember Chubby Ronaldo. Watching Chubby Ronaldo made me sad because Skinny Ronaldo was a beast. Oh, I loved watching Skinny Ronaldo as a striker. All right, back to boxing. Sorry. Okay, so let's see here. Like I said, Arias, all this talk, and doesn't bring the fight. I expected him to be a honey badger in there, coming out and just throwing a barrage of punches against Danny Jacobs and really bringing the fight to Danny Jacobs, and that never happened. And the reasons why it didn't happen, looking at it, you know, Jacobs, a lot bigger guy. Danny Jacobs for a middleweight is a very, very big dude. And Luis Cuba Arias, honestly, he looks more like a natural 154-pounder. Is that a cognac? That is a cognac poster, huh? Now, people always say Yoga Flame because there's a flame coming out of her and stuff. So, this has been a weird chat, huh, guys? It's completely random. We're 20 minutes in, and now we're barely getting into boxing. A lot of shit happened. Okay, so, you know, I think, you know, Daniel Jacobs was just too big, too skilled. This was too early for Luis Arias. He's never been in with a guy with the experience, professional experience, really, of a Danny Jacobs, a guy who's fought in the best in his division, in Gennady Golovkin, fought in good competition, as in Peter Quillen, fought experienced competition like Sergio Mora, and, you know, nothing that Luis Arias could have done could have gotten him prepared for this fight. He was just outclassed, outgunned, fighting a guy that was better than him, fighting the guy that was naturally bigger than him, fighting a guy that was stronger than him, and more skilled than him. And, you know, in any Danny Jacobs fight, I think that's going to be a big advantage for Danny Jacobs, is because he's just so much bigger than these guys. This dude's massive for a middleweight. He's a big dude. I don't know how he cuts. He has to cut probably 20 pounds to make a middleweight. So in terms of now Jacobs' performance, I felt looking at him, he looked very polished. He looked very good, very composed in there. He was picking his shots. I felt that because of the size difference, that Danny should have knocked Luis Arias out. And yeah, I understand you can only do so much when an opponent's trying to survive against you, as we saw with the Beterbiev fight that happened on ESPN. But I felt that even from early in the fight, the first round or two, that I could tell that he could tell that, hey, you know what? This fight's already in the bag. I got this in the bag. I can beat this guy. And I felt because of that, Danny could have done a little bit more in terms of trying to go ahead and knock him out. When he was interviewed post-fight, though, he said that he was getting a little bit overzealous and that he had to go ahead and tighten up a little bit. But I really think if he really pushed the pace a little bit more, throwing more punches, and not been more of aggressive, but just had a higher pace, more on the inside of Arias, more pushing him back, more making him react to his punches or setting him more power punches, maybe he could have gotten the stoppage win against Luis Arias. And I wrote something here that I wanted to ask you guys. So, to me, I thought it was a solid performance. Made improvements. He looked really good for 9-month layoff. He did not look rusty at all in this fight with Arias. And I liked a lot of the things that he saw, but I felt that he could have been a little bit more aggressive. How did Daniel Jacobs look to you guys? Let me know. If he looked good, if he looked rusty, if you felt he improved. If you did feel he improved, what improvement did you see in there that he displayed in the fight? I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a moment to answer those questions while I fire off a tweet here saying that I cannot believe that Italy is not in this World Cup. Go ahead and read your guys' responses. All right, let's go ahead and read them. Majid, am I pronouncing that right? Majid thought he was good. Wickedy felt that Danny looked rusty. I didn't think he looked rusty, man. I thought he looked good. What about his performance to you made him look rusty? Let me know. Luca Brezzi says that he kept the pressure on with the C-level fighter. You know, Arias is a good fighter. He did last 12 rounds with a big puncher and a lot bigger guy than him in Danny Jacobs. So in the post-fight interview and also in the videos that were released from the post-fight press conference, Danny Jacobs targeting the big names at middleweight. Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez. But they're tied up. They're going to do a rematch, we hope, in May. David Lemieux, BJ Saunders, they're tied up. Maybe he'll get them in 2018. But there is one guy that's open and available, that is Jermall Charlo. In a video that we released earlier last week, Daniel Jacobs saying that he wants Charlo. He said, Charlo, you're next. If I can't get these guys, Charlo, you are next. That's a great freaking fight, man. I love that fight. And that's a... I'm trying to play out the fight in my head right now. And I think, you know, the main story of that fight could be Charlo's jab and his ability to keep Daniel away from him with that jab. But that's a great fight. Do you guys think that Vegas odds makers should put Charlo or Danny Jacobs as the favorite? And yeah, that's right. There's Demetrius Andrade as well out there too. So who'd win in a fight? Charlo or Danny Jacobs? Let me know, you guys, as getting a lot of interaction on our Twitter. If you're not following us, remember, at FightUpTV on Twitter, at Hey It's Marcos V on Twitter as well, and Instagram for me. Let's go ahead and dive into your guys' comments. Let's see here. OG Bullet says he ain't fighting Charlo. He got a contract with HBO. No, but you know what? He said in his interview that he can move around, that he can make things work. So, you know, that's what Jacob said. Ray G says, yeah, Charlo beats Danny Jacobs. Majid thinks that Charlo's sharp. Gary M thinks that Eddie will make that fight if it makes money. And I think, you know, the good thing here is they're both Heyman fighters, so it makes it a lot easier. In terms of networks now, I think we're starting to see PBC fighters showing up on other networks. Danny Jacobs, perfect example. He went from Showtime to HBO. So I don't think that'll be too much of a problem, to be honest. I'm not sure. I think Andrade is not signed with somebody. So the other fight I wanted to go ahead and touch on as well that happened over the weekend was in the light heavyweight division, 175 pounds. Arthur Beterbiev, who's seen by many to be the best at 175 pounds, went up against some German guy. I don't even know how to pronounce his freaking name. I saw the broadcast on ESPN. Broadcast was hilarious because you had Teddy Atlas going back and forth with Mark Kriegel. And it was just funny. I think Teddy has a thing against like writers. And I just think back to the back and forth that he had with Stephen A. Smith for the Canelo Golovkin fight, where he was like, don't use that fancy mumbo jumbo language with me, and he starts going off on him. And I think he has a problem with people trying to make him using fancy big words. I think, you know, because I've noticed that he gets like that when people try to use big words around him. So it was an interesting interesting telecast. I thought it was funny. Because they kept going back and forth. They kept going back and forth about, well, if this German guy, you're saying, Teddy kept saying the German guy was just there to survive against Beterbiev. Kriegel kept saying like, well, why isn't Beterbiev pressuring more and doing more to knock this guy out? These people know this guy is a knockout artist, and they came here to go see him knock this dude out, and he's not doing it, even though eventually he did get the knockout. I'm going to write something down because I do want to touch on this. The McGregor situation that happened over the weekend. McGregor's gangster, dude, but I don't know. I think there's... I'm not sure he's there mentally right now. Okay, so we'll finish off Beterbiev. The only thing that really stuck out in my mind for Beterbiev was I felt compared to like Bivol and some of the other light heavyweights like Kovalev, he's a little slow, a little stiff, robotic in the way he fights. Even though Beterbiev has wins over Kovalev in the amateurs, I think Kovalev's a lot more polished, more smoother and fluid than Beterbiev. But the thing with Beterbiev is he has blunt force trauma in his punches. One punch and you're out. And he showed that in the 12th round against the German guy. But is he the best light heavyweight at this point? Difficult to say because we don't know the condition of Kovalev right now mentally coming off those losses to Andre Ward. Adonis Stevenson is a lot bigger dude than Beterbiev. And I actually think Adonis Stevenson would give trouble to Beterbiev given his style because his style is very European, very rustic. Badu Jack is another guy. It's a tough dude who's getting a lot better. So, light heavyweight. You know what they should do? Now that Andre Ward is gone from this division, they should have a light heavyweight tournament. I think that'd be great because you have all these guys in the mix. Badu Jack, Adonis Stevenson, Beterbiev, Bivol, Gozdak. That's 5 guys I listed off right there. And you got Sullivan Barrera. Who else you got in this division? You could make a legit light heavyweight tournament, and this thing would pop off. I don't think Dawson is still viable in the division, man. I think Andy Lee. You got Andy Lee up in the mix right there too as well. So you got a lot of guys that you can make a tournament. So I think a tournament would make a lot of sense for the light heavyweight division. And if there's a promoter watching, listening, watches the replay of this, make the light heavyweight tournament, man. That'd be out. Joe Smith, that's another guy, that could be in there in the mix as well. So there's a lot of fights there to be made at light heavyweight. Do you guys think that Beterbiev is the best at 175 pounds? Or do you think any of the other guys that I just listed are better fighters or would win if they were to go up against Beterbiev? Like I mentioned, there's Kovalev, Adonis Stevenson, Beterbiev, Bivol, Gozdak. There's a lot of guys. So who do you guys consider to be the best at 175 pounds right now? Fire division. A lot of Russian, European fighters, but also a lot of fighters that we know of as well. Not to mention, you got... Oh, man, I just had his name. He's the guy that fought... Joe Smith and Sullivan Barrera. Sullivan Barrera is a really good fighter, too. All right. Let's read your guys' comments. Let's see here. MB wants a tournament at super featherweight at 130 pounds. That'd be good. You got Solito, you got Roman, you got Burchelt, Vargas. That'd be good. OG Bullet does not think Beterbiev is the best. Well, let me know. Who do you think is the best at this weight class? Luca Brazil thinks it's Badu Jack. Chow Films. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, dude. Go ahead and spread the word to everybody that you know as well. Wickedy Split can't give Joe Smith any credit for beating a 100-year-old Hopkins. To Bernard Hopkins' credit, he was only 50, all right? Not that old. Oh, man. Okay. Now, the McGregor situation that happened over the weekend. Kovalev versus Welder. Oh, man. Nah, come on, Chosen One. We can't have fights like that. It's way too big of a difference. All right, so over the weekend, Conor McGregor, in Conor McGregor style, made some headlines, and I'm pretty sure you guys heard about it. He rushed the cage at Bellator's event in Dublin because one of his teammates, what was this guy's name? Ward, I think that's what his name was fighting, got a win, and then Conor just busted through, congratulated him, and just all hell broke loose. So what happened was this. The fight ends, and I've seen Conor at fights when he's not fighting. Charlie Ward. That's right. And I remember seeing Conor in the Mick Conlan fight. So this was in New York, and it's funny. It's funny because we're all seated there, and Conor comes. Okay? And Sergey Kovalev's there, and Sergey Kovalev sees Conor McGregor, and he starts fanning out. He starts fanning out like crazy. he tries to go up to Conor, and Conor's like, you know, he's trying to like focus on Colin's fight. So he's kind of like doing this to Kovalev, like, oh yeah, you know. So they escort Conor McGregor to the middle of the ring, and I'm on press row. This is in New York, Madison Square Garden, and Kovalev comes at Conor McGregor with 2 chairs, and he's like, oh, here, I have a chair, and he wants to like sit down with Conor and like talk to him, and he starts talking to Conor McGregor. And Conor's like, oh, yeah. He's like going nuts over McCollin's fight. So he pretty much, I don't know what was said. You know, and there was a lot that happened after because people recorded this interaction between Conor McGregor and Sergey Kovalev. And a lot of people felt that there was beef there. From what I saw a Conor McGregor that wanted to watch his friend fight. And he told Kovalev like, hey, okay, cool. And they went over there. So let me go ahead and do something here. Or do this. We got some haters that have trickled in right now. But if you ever seen Conor McGregor at a fight that's not his, he's a very passionate teammate. He gets super involved in cheering for his teammates. He's just really crazy. We saw him with that Artem fight that he was like going nuts and stuff. That's how he is, you know. I've seen it in person. So this wasn't anything out of his character, to be honest. But seeing his behavior in New York when we saw him at the Conlon fight on St. Patrick's Day, and then seeing what he did in this Bellator fight, same damn thing. The difference is he went after the referee, and now that referee, Mike Goddard, is the same referee that told him to get the hell out of the arena in the Artem fight. So I guess he had some problem there, and what set off Conor was the referee pushed Conor. Conor got all crazy, rushed up to him, started sticking his finger in his face. Conor went outside of the cage, came back in, went to climb the cage, and an official, I don't know who he was, but he was an official with the commission over there in Dublin. He went to kind of push him off, and Conor slapped the guy, which in a non-professional sense, who wouldn't have done that? The dude tried to push him off the cage. He almost fell. Of course, I would have slapped the guy too if he tried to do that. Now I understand you're in a professional setting. You're a professional fighter. You shouldn't even be on top of the cage to begin with. I understand that. But like, Street Marcos would have been like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to slap the shit out of that dude. I almost fell off the cage because of that guy. Of course I'm going to slap him, you know? But because it's Conor McGregor, a spotlight's put on him. He gets a lot more scrutiny. And because he happens to be a professional fighter, and professional fighters shouldn't be touching officials, more or less slapping them, we saw the backlash that happened. And I'll get to that peanut butter and jelly time. I'll get to that right now. But, you know, Conor's... It's weird, you know, ever since the Mayweather fight, I felt that his behavior has been more and more... not chaotic, but it's been more and more out there. His behavior and how he's been acting. And it makes me think if, like, there's something more going on there than him just being crazy. Is there other outside factors? Erratic, there we go. Is there other outside factors that are contributing to this very erratic behavior? Because he's been having a lot of very erratic situations happening in the last few months after that Mayweather fight. And I don't know, maybe he's not there mentally, maybe... I hate to say this, you know, but this happens a lot of times, you know, drugs. We've seen drugs ruin a lot of people's careers. You know, I'm not saying in his particular case that it is. You know, I have a lot of friends that be like, oh, dude, McGregor looks like he's on something. He's on coke or something like that. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying what my friends have been telling me, but his behavior has been kind of erratic. He's already crazy as is, though. But, I don't know, just... from his social media, and I know what you portray on social media is completely different than what's happening in real life, but from what is portrayed in social media and from what they're talking about, they're saying that he potentially could fight in December. And I haven't seen a video or a snap or a story about him actually training and being inside the gym. So I have no idea if he's in the right mental frame of mind with all this that's happening to even go into a camp and have a fight. But that's just my 2 cents. All right. Jose Ramirez got a technical knockout win in San Jose in front of 13,000 people in Fresno. And Jose Ramirez is a good dude, does a lot for his community, stands up for a lot of the farmers and migrant workers over there in Fresno. He's got a very big following in his hometown as well. So it was good to see him get the win, though the guy that he fought in Mike Reed was as small as Tino. He was like Tino's height. I'm just like, how's this guy a 140-pounder? But he looked good. He overwhelmed Mike Reed, and he got the win, though I think a lot of people were expecting the fight to go a little bit longer, to be honest. So let's go ahead and get to your guys' thoughts. Let's see. Let's go ahead and read your comments. But the other thing I do want to touch on, Gary M, he's drinking probably, snorting, no harm, enjoying himself. Yeah, but that stuff really affects you as a fighter, especially if there's talks of you fighting in December. Like, what kind of shape is he going to come in? You know, that's a concern that I have in regards to him, and the behavior's been very, very weird and erratic, you know. Okay, Mandim. I read something that Mikey Woods put there, that he's been training for Conor, but I don't know, it's another money grab fight. Oscar's been retired for what, 7 years now, or 6 years? I don't know. I wouldn't have interest in that fight, to be honest. It's going to be another spectacle freak fight. This is even more of a freak fight, Conor and Oscar, than it was with Mayweather. At least Mayweather was sort of retired. He only been out for a year, you know, and was still in decent shape. Oscar's been retired for like 7 years, you know, and it's like, well, why is he coming back to fight him? It's money. It's a big event. It'll do a lot of business. That's why, you know, and I understand when a fighter retires, there's always going to be a want for them to fight and stuff, but what would be the point of that fight other than money? What's significance? 9 years, yeah. What significance would that be to have that fight take place other than the business part of it? And even then, even with Oscar retired, for as long as he's been retired, Oscar would still beat Conor McGregor. Even though Conor would land some good punches, win a few rounds, you know, but that fight's pointless. It's pointless, and it's funny. Like, why are you even wanting to have that fight after the comments you made about the Mayweather-McGregor fight? Saying that it was a circus, it was a disgrace to boxing, it was a slap in the face to boxing. The open letter telling fans, urging them not to buy the fight because it was a fraud. And now you want to go into this fight with Conor McGregor. Just doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest. So, but it's all talk. I haven't seen an interview. Until I see it coming out of his mouth saying, yeah, I'm training, I want to fight with Conor McGregor, that's when I'll believe it. But very strange. Very, very strange. We did get Conor over the weekend. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya over the weekend shared his comments about, right here, shared his comments about Dana White getting into boxing, about people ducking Miguel Cotto. That's all up on the channel, youtube.com/FightHub. Go ahead and open your guys' comments, and we'll do some more Q&A. See, I'd rather see Paulie versus Conor, to be honest, because there's beef there. There's built-up beef. Racer Nerd. Yes, I did. And I actually wrote that in my notepad. So we will touch on the new episode of Dragon Ball Super and some other things that I wrote down here. But I want to go ahead and answer your guys' questions. I guess they're doing construction over here. and my complex. It's annoying as hell, man. This shit starts at like 8:30 in the fucking morning. It's super annoying. Weekly split. Yeah, I would buy a pay-per-view with McGregor and Paulie Malignaggi because of all the trash talk and the beef that happened before. So, Curtis Jones, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Daniel Jacobs versus Jamal Charlo. Who you got? Late Show 42 has Charlo and Peanut Butter. Yeah, Al's still a good friend. Al was my mentor, helped me out a lot. So, Daniel Jacobs versus Jamal Charlo. It's a good fight. Charlo has the reach, better jab. Though I think Charlo could have some problems. I haven't seen an opponent really press the action against Charlo or really be in Charlo's face and really work the body and work in close distance. And I think Daniel Jacobs could have some... Could John Cena beat Jiren? Of course, Jiren wouldn't be able to see John Cena. But I think Daniel Jacobs would have a lot of success on the inside against Charlo. Is it a 50-50 fight? I think on paper it would be a 50-50 fight. And I think the Vegas odds would probably favor Charlo because of the... And I think wrongfully, the perception that Daniel Jacobs doesn't have a chin. Was knocked down against Gennady Golovkin, but who doesn't get knocked down by Gennady Golovkin? Usually when you fight Gennady Golovkin, you get knocked down, you get knocked out. Sergio Mora knocked him down. You could say that was an anomaly because it didn't happen in the second fight. Pirog. Daniel Jacobs was going through a lot of stuff. Not making excuses for him, but that could have been a contributing factor as well. But if he didn't have a chin, Golovkin should have knocked him out. And Golovkin didn't knock him out. If he didn't have a chin, anybody with a decent punch should be able to knock out Jacobs. And we haven't seen that yet up to this point. So, in a fight against Charlo, I think Charlo would be seen as the favorite because of that perception that Daniel Jacobs doesn't have a chin. You know, he's always vulnerable in a fight because of that. Because he does show and has shown in the past that he gets hurt. But I think it'd be a very interesting fight, and I think it'd be something that Charlo would use his jab a lot to keep Daniel Jacobs away from him. But I really want to see an opponent really bring the fight to Daniel Jacobs and really mix it in there on the inside and really push the pace against Daniel Jacobs. All right, let's see what I'm gonna pick some more of your questions coming up right now. Wiki Split thinks that Charlo would be Daniel Jacobs, and I think a lot of people would be split 50-50 in that fight. It's a good fight, and I hope it gets made. Both are Al Heyman fighters. Showtime on one, HBO on the other, but I think that would get sorted out as well. And it's really the best option that Daniel Jacobs has at this point, given that Canelo and Triple G aren't going to fight till May or September, so they're out of the question. Lemieux and Saunders are fighting now, and someone can get hurt and could put them on the shelf. So I think the safest option would be that Charlo fight. And honestly, I would rather see a Jacobs versus Charlo fight rather than a Jacobs-Lemieux. No, you know what? I'd love to see a Jacobs-Lemieux fight. That fight would be freaking awesome. It'd be a great freaking fight. I keep getting a text message here. Hold on. Okay, Majid Hussein. Jacobs has experience and fast hands when he wants to put it on. Very true. Douglas Chavez. Jacobs' activity would overwhelm Charlo, in my opinion. And that's... You bring up a good point, because that's what I've always thought. We've never seen Charlo in there with a guy that's in his face for all 12 rounds and just attacking anything that he can get. Body, shoulders, arms, just in his face. Relentless pressure for 12 rounds. I want to see how he adjusts to that sort of pressure and what sort of character that'll bring out of him. And I think that's going to answer the rest of the questions we have about him and stuff. So I'd love to see him in there with a guy that would pressure him like that. Late Show 42, Jacobs should have stopped Arias. I agree. Mac 10. Jacobs got no chin. The Racer Nerd. Was that a real knockdown by Triple G? Yeah, Triple G hit him in the chin and he fell down. Wickedy split. If Ronda fought Ann Wolfe, who would win? In a boxing ring, of course, Ann Wolfe would win. In an MMA fight, if Ronda fought the way she fought Holly Holm or the other girl, Amanda Nunes, just coming in straight lines, she'd probably lose in an MMA fight. But if she just went right for a takedown, she'd choke out Ann Wolfe quick. Let's see here. Do you think we'll see Thurman Spence next year? I think if we do see it, we'll see it at the end of 2018, if not the beginning of 2019, because Spence wants to go ahead and get a tune-up. And then even after the tune-up, he has a mandatory with Sean Porter. And I felt that Sean Porter fight, the very first fight in New York, I had it a draw. Many felt that Porter won. Many felt that Thurman won. I had it a draw, 6-6. So I want to see that fight again. It was a very good fight. Let's see here. Curtis Jones. He said that Eddie should sign Cletus Seldine. The guy's old school, entertaining, and can talk. The fight he had last Saturday was bloody as hell. Could easily be a fan favorite. Yeah, he can. I saw clips of that fight. Kind of a dirty fighter, though, to be honest, with the elbows and all that. And it's not cool. And that's how he ended up finishing that fight, was because of the elbows. Gamboa versus Sosa is official. Sosa, because I don't think there's much of Gamboa left at this point. Eddie is taking over like Vince McMahon. Gervonta Davis versus Santa Cruz. Two-weight difference, two-weight class difference there. I doubt we see that fight anytime soon, to be honest. Luca thinks that Tank will destroy Leo Santa Cruz. Thurman versus Canelo is a great fight. If it were to happen with a in-shape Keith Thurman that moves around, it'll be a very close fight. I see Thurman... I could see Thurman winning, but I could see Canelo knocking out Keith Thurman, to be honest, and beating Keith Thurman. Jacobs versus Eubank Jr. I still... Not that I have questions about Eubank, but I want to see him put on a dominant performance against a guy who's really good. At this point, he's put on dominant performances against people, opponents that are B-level, C-level, and it's expected. But I want him to put on a dominant performance against a high-level opponent. He hasn't had one since his BJ Saunders fight, and in that fight he lost. So in a fight with Jacobs, obviously I think the favorite would be Jacobs, but I think Eubank Jr. could actually win that fight with his speed and his movement, to be honest. I have no idea, bro. No idea, Wickedy. Gary M. Belfast card this weekend is a card worth watching. Oh, Titere Miguel Vasquez got beat over the weekend. Got knocked out against, Josh Taylor. So I got to check that fight out because my buddy James told me that Taylor is a solid fighter, and I want to go see how he did and how he figured out the puzzle of Miguel Vasquez, because getting a win over Miguel Vasquez is really an accomplishment. That guy makes everybody look freaking bad and terrible. So that's to say you knocked a guy out like that is a big compliment. And interestingly, Vasquez fought Canelo in his debut fight, which is, I would hate to fight a Canelo Alvarez in my debut fight. OG Bullet 88 thinks that Canelo knocks Thurman the fuck out. I can see it happening, and I can see it with the body shot. That's a funny comment, Peanut Butter Jelly Time. I'm going to call you Peanut Butter Jelly Time, even though that's not your name. Mac 10, don't even ask that question. You know who wins. Come on, bro. You know who wins. Come on. El Títere, yes, he fought and he lost. Let's see here. Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. I doubt we see that, Aaron. Just the size difference and the weight classes. You guys ever meet Errol Spence in person? The first response, or the first thing that'll come to your mind, 9 times out of 10 will be, Jesus fucking Christ. This dude's fucking big. how is this guy a welterweight? This dude is huge. Which was, when I saw Errol Spence in person, that was my initial thought. I looked at him, I looked at his shoulders, I looked how wide his back was, and I was like, holy shit, how do you make 147 pounds? He's going to end up being fighting at middleweight by the end of his career. Let's see here. Davis versus Gary Russell. Weight differences. I think size difference there. I'm not too sure about that. Josh Kelly is big too. Paul Williams was a big welterweight as well. Yeah, but Paul Williams had like hollow bones, man. He's very, very skinny, you know. And Errol Spence is built like, yeah, Errol Spence is a solid dude, man. I'm telling you, you look at that kid in person, he has to at least cut 20 pounds in training camp to get down to 147 because he is just, his structure is way too big for a welterweight. And I have all those welterweights outside of Kell Brook, because Kell Brook is a very big welterweight as well. But Thurman, Porter, Garcia, who are the other guys at welterweight? Jeez. Thurman, all those guys. Out of all those welterweights, Manny, Crawford, Errol Spence is the biggest out of all those guys. He's a big dude in comparison to them. He's not a natural 147 pounder. He's more of a natural 154 pounder. Peterson, Horn. Errol Spence is bigger naturally than all those guys. He's just a big, solid dude. And, man, I wouldn't imagine how much hell those cuts are that he's cutting. You know, he has to at least be cutting 15 pounds to make 147 pounds. Not all in one night, but over the course of a camp. Danny's, here's the thing with Danny. Danny's not big. When you look at his shoulders and his back, he's not a big dude. When you compare him to someone like an Errol Spence. When you look at Errol, you'll just know. This is exactly what happened to me when I met Anderson Silva in person. On TV, Anderson Silva looks skinny, you know, not too big. You know, he looks like he could have more muscle mass. And then you see him in person and you're like, shit, this dude's thick. Like, how do you look like that on TV? And then I see you in person and you're just like, he's just thick. Anderson Silva is a big guy. He's just a big freaking dude. And the same thing with Errol Spence. Hey, that's actually a fight that makes sense, Majid. Amir Khan versus Jeff Horn. Makes sense a lot. Yeah, Liam Smith won over the weekend. I didn't see that fight, but I know he's the #1 contender, like you mentioned. Anderson Silva, man, makes me sad. Got busted by USADA. Not sure if it was for the dick pills. But, man, it does so much damage now to his legacy. At one point, we all thought that Anderson Silva was the greatest mixed martial artist to ever live because of that streak that he had and how badly he would make, his other opponents look when he would fight him. And then the first drug result that he got, now this one puts a dark cloud over Anderson Silva in his career, and it makes you think, well, if he did it again, how long has he been doing this for? And the only way that it makes sense to me as to why this all happened is it stems from the broken leg with Chris Weidman. And having a broken leg in combat sports could be very devastating and detrimental to your career. I can't relate. I've never broken a bone, but my dad broke his leg. I have a few friends that have broke their legs, and it's a very hard injury to get to normal as a normal person. Now imagine you're an athlete who's known for his kicks, who trained a lot of his career in Muay Thai, and then you get your leg broken, you know? So I don't know. Maybe I don't want to make excuses for him, but I could see as to maybe why he would be tempted to use performance-enhancing drugs if it meant a quicker recovery for his broken leg for his injury. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? And I don't even know if it was Cialis that he got popped for this time. Do you guys know what he got popped for this time? I have no idea what he got popped for this time, other than he got flagged for an out-of-competition test with USADA. And hats off to USADA. They've been catching a lot of guys lately. And, you know, this is what kind of bothers me, that it's so rampant in MMA when you compare it to boxing. How often do you guys see people get popped as often in any other sport other than MMA? These guys are getting popped left and right in MMA. And this is just not now. This has been a few freaking years. Yeah, you're right, Aaron. John Jones, Brock Lesnar. I am reading the comments. Don't worry, I'm getting to them. It's never rare. But Brock Lesnar, John Jones, Anderson Silva. Who else got popped? Overeem got popped. Who else? Just tons of guys. You don't see it as much as boxing, even though Ortiz got popped. Oh yeah, Chael Sonnen. Ortiz got popped. Povetkin got popped. Vitor, see? We can go on and on and on and on and on with MMA. It's really an endemic problem in MMA. And a lot of people have tried to not find out, but try to see what's the reason as to why it's such an endemic problem in MMA. And a lot of people are saying, you know, because of technology and the people in MMA, they're a lot more knowledgeable. They're a lot more accepting to newer training methods and medicines and ways to recover, that it's a bit more accessible to them than in boxing, which happens to be a very old school sport. You got a lot of old school trainers that don't believe in strength and conditioning trainers. They believe in road work, putting your time in at the gym. And they mentioned, you know, if it worked for fighters back in the 80s and the 90s, you know, why do you need these strength and conditioning trainers? A view that I don't agree with, because I think the strength and conditioning trainers have done a tremendous job with athletes in general in all sports, and they do offer a lot to the athletes. Gary M. Marcos, your opinion about the leg break? He definitely did it to heal that time. Rest of the time, I think he didn't want to retire. And that's the only thing that, outside of these tests with Anderson Silva, that has always kind of stuck in my mind is he doing this because of the leg break? To be able to fully heal and be 100%. Was that the reason that he got popped in the first place, was to help with the recovery of the leg? And yeah, can't be doing that shit as a fighter, because you could seriously hurt somebody if you're on steroids as a fighter. You're already dangerous enough as it is as a natural athlete, a natural clean athlete stepping in there. Years and years and years of honing your craft, honing your fists, elbows, knees, kicks, and then you get that extra edge. You're quicker, faster, stronger because of steroids. You know, we've been very lucky we haven't seen someone die, because that could happen with someone on steroids. It's the equivalent of you're going in there with an unfair advantage against these other people, and especially in combat sports where one fight can literally freaking be your last fight. Literally can be your last fight, or literally you will not be the same after a fight. Any fight can leave you permanently damaged the rest of your life. You have these guys go in with, you know, with steroids. There should be a lot harsher punishments because of that. And we've been very lucky that someone hasn't gotten seriously hurt due to somebody on PEDs. All right. It's been 64 minutes since we've been doing the live chats. I did want to touch on a few things. I'm laughing because you guys always laugh when I bring this up. I wanted to touch on Dragon Ball Super, this last episode that we did, but I don't think I'm going to have a time to go ahead and do it. James Lopez, do you think Josh Kelly could be the future? I've never seen him fight. I need to see him fight first, so I'll give you a better opinion on my thoughts on that when I see him fight. I wanted to touch on The Walking Dead. Walking Dead fucked me up. When I saw it yesterday, I was pissed off because they killed off Shiva. And yes, I understand it's not a real, it's a CG tiger, but I was still mad because Tiger was defenseless. It was a badass character. It's a fucking Tiger, man. It was a cool character, and they got ganged up and chewed up on like they were having a pig roast. So I was legit upset a lot of the night yesterday night when they killed off that character from The Walking Dead. Wanted to touch on the Ninja Turtles, as random as it sounds, because over the weekend, fighting game called Injustice 2 released a trailer for their new characters, and I'm super into video games, okay? But because of Fight Hub, because of all the stuff that I do with boxing, and Fight Hub is my full-time, but I also freelance for Fox and FS1 for their boxing cards, doing research for a lot of the fighters. I don't have time for video games as much as I used to, which makes me sad inside. And I refuse to play video games at nighttime. Yeah, Tekken has that Final Fantasy guy, yeah. But I can't play video games at night anymore because I'll stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning. And I got into like a bad habit over the last... Sorry about that, guys. These fucking spam people call me all the goddamn time. I don't know how the hell they get my phone number. The most annoying fucking thing in the world, getting these spam calls from these people, okay? But I just can't play video games like I used to anymore because I stay up till 3, 4 in the morning, and then I'll wake up to like 10 and 11 in the morning, and I feel like Ted from the movie, where, you know, some of your guys' questions are funny. I just feel like a big sack of shit when I wake up at like 11 in the morning, and it's like, okay, why did you wake up this late? Oh, because I spent the last, let's see, few hours the other night playing freaking Assassin's Creed till like 4 in the morning, reading up on freaking pirate ships and trying to get this treasure off the coast of fucking Bermuda or wherever the hell in this fantasy world. And I'm just like, you know what? You cannot play video games during the week anymore. Not at nighttime. Not at 11, 12 at night. Play video games on the weekend. But Injustice, the Ninja Turtles are a secret character in this game, which makes me want to play this game now. And I stopped playing a lot of fighting games a long time ago. But when I saw the Ninja Turtles, I was like, oh shit, I want to play this game. I was surprised, to be honest. So, Dragon Ball Super. Don't get me started on Dragon Ball Super. I'm not even gonna get into it. The only thing that I want to leave off on the Dragon Ball Super thing is, all right, so Goku gets Ultra Instinct. You know how hard it was for him to get Ultra Instinct the first time? So he had to like fight Jiren, get to his limit, reach his limit, throws a spirit bomb, has a spirit bomb thrown back at him, has to absorb a spirit bomb, and then it unlocks Ultra Instinct. So how is it he fights a fused Kefla, okay? And yeah, I understand he's like at half stamina. But how does he fight a fused Kefla? And a fused Kefla who's not, when you look at the spectrum of power levels, when you compare it to full strength Super Saiyan Blue, it's not even close to that. Not even close to his power level. So how is it a fused Kefla can help him unlock Ultra Instinct again? It makes no freaking sense to me. It makes no sense because I see Kefla as such a low-level power character in comparison to Vegeta and Goku at Super Saiyan Blue. That's all I'm going to say. It just bugs the shit out of me how they're able to get these transformations from characters that are a lot weaker than them. And it also bugs the shit out of me how like Kefla, Kaba, and Khalifa all got to Super Saiyan 2 all freaking quick when it took Gohan freaking seeing the android getting his head smashed in. Huge freaking battle with Cell, seeing Goku die. And it took all that to help him reach Super Saiyan 2. But it takes these new characters, freaking Vegeta telling them, or Goku, like, hey, you just need to do this. And they go ahead and turn Super Saiyan 2. Just pisses me off. Yeah, they're from different universes, but it just... You spend a whole freaking series of saying these characters can only get to these certain limits through this. And they get to that limit super easily. It makes no sense to me. All right, Mandem, JNR, you get the last question. You've been saying that I haven't read your comment. So what's your comment, bro? And we'll leave it at that. I did read your comment, Curtis, and I answered your question. So I'm waiting for you guys to ask that question. Been saying, hey, read my comment. I'm waiting for you. Put the comment down. I'll read it and I'll answer it. Let's go. Nope. All right, I think they left. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. 70 minutes now, streaming with you guys. Let's see here. Family Guy is way better. Now, you know what's better than... Nah, you know what? Same level. As funny for Family Guy is Rick and Morty. I just discovered Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is freaking hilarious. Cracks me up. I wish I would have discovered Rick and Morty last year or 2 years ago. Funny ass freaking series. Cracks me up. If you guys have not watched Rick and Morty, watch Rick and Morty. OG Bullet, Super Nintendo, OG Best. Look what I'm wearing, son. What is this? Super Nintendo fucking shirt right here, son. You know, I'd be repping all that shit. Okay? Alright. I think Mandem Jr. said he was typing. In his profile pic, he's drinking a beer or a soda. I don't know what that is. But, you guys, every Monday at 1:30, expect a live chat. I'm thinking of starting to do this on my desktop, even though I haven't figured out the camera situation on my desktop. Because I run a Mac. The OBS runs a lot better on PC. Hate using my PC. It sucks. It's slow. Just don't like PCs in general when you compare them to Macs. Yeah, Pickle Rick. Wickedy Split with the Yoshi mask. Phil Joyce. Here we go. Okay, all right. So I'll do you a favor, Mandem Jr. Mandem Jr. has been asking for a question for me to answer more of his questions. And I did answer a question, but we'll do it this one right here, okay? Mandem Jr., here you go. This is your time to shine, bro. Mandem Jr., Thurman versus Mikey, Porter versus Garcia, Spence versus Lamont Peterson should be on the same card. It'd be massive and bigger financially than KF, than if they were separate main events. Huh. Let me tell you the problem with that. And Yeezus Manny, no, this is full time, but it was a hobby that turned into a job. Mandem, all those fights you listed could all be main events in their own right. And I would love to see them all stacked together, because that's how the UFC does a lot of their fights, a lot of their cards, and that's why people watch these UFC cards more than boxing cards as a whole in terms of casual fans, because they just do a lot better job of stacking their cards, and they have a lot better talent on their cards. When's the last time we've said that a boxing undercard was fucking awesome? Zero. Almost never. Because it's just, the reason why they build crap undercards is because they're paying the main eventers so much freaking money that they can't afford to have other people on the card as well. And a perfect example of confirmation of this was for the Canelo Mayweather fight, where they put Danny Garcia and Lucas Matisse. And that whole week, Richard Schaefer made it known to all of us how expensive it was to have Matisse and Danny Garcia as the co-main event, and how much money he had to pay both Matisse and Danny Garcia to have them as the co-main event, and also be able to pay Floyd and Canelo. So the main eventers make so much money that you can't stack them all together, because literally it would be too much money, and I think that it would be a loss they wouldn't be able to take. So that's why we don't see super cards like you're mentioning they should do. Should they do them? Of course they should do them. They should stack these pay-per-views, because it's better overall, because that turns more people into fans of these guys, first off. And, you know, when you go to an MMA event or an MMA fight, Fans get there from the first fight, 3, 4 in the afternoon, all the way till 9, 10, because they stack the fucking fights. They have good fights throughout the whole goddamn card. They stay there. Boxing, you're at a boxing fight, people don't show up till the main event. 20 minutes before the main event, the arena starts getting filled in. So it's a main difference there, but it's because of economics. Because they pay the main eventers so much money that they can't afford to put on other guys that are normally main eventers on the undercard. So that's why that problem happens a lot in boxing. Now, a way to get around it or a way to solve it, not too sure. You sponsorship dollars where you have the extra money to go ahead and pay to stack your undercards. I highly doubt you're going to go ahead and ask your talent to take a pay cut. Because if I was a guy who's main eventing and you want to put me on a card, but you're telling me, hey, can you take a pay cut of $2 million? I'm going to tell you to fuck off. Be like, no, I can headline my own card 3 months from now and get that same amount of money. Why would I take a pay cut? So that's out of the question. So that's why we see boxing cards not as stacked as MMA cards because it's an issue of economics. You learn something new every day, right? All right, guys, at FightUpTV. Follow us. Twitter, Instagram, at FightUpTV. Follow me as well. I'm going to write this. Well, damn it. It's going to be shown backwards. But at Hey, it's Marcos V. You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Go ahead and give us a like on Facebook as well. And please tell your friends to subscribe to our channel. We recently cracked 300,000 subscriptions, and we want to keep on growing. The dream is to get to 1 million. Man, that would be a major accomplishment if you can get 1 million subs. The other thing, I wanted to ask you guys this. Well, obviously, we'd like to be at a lot of fights. We like to cover as many fights as we can. But sometimes, since we are an independently run channel, and what we make from the videos is what we make. We don't have any major sponsors, or we don't have sponsorships from management companies like other people do. Because we want to remain independent. We want to remain objective. We don't want to be biased towards anybody, which is a lot of the reason as to why I've chosen not to get sponsorships from certain companies, because if we align ourselves with them, it's going to make our ability to be objective and non-biased, it's going to take it away. But with that said, wanted to see if we put together a Patreon or a crowdfunding for us to get to fights that you want us to be at. Say, for instance, this Lomachenko-Rigondeaux fight or this Lemieux-Saunders fight. Would you guys as a community as a whole pull in money to be able to send more people out there to get more video and content? That's what I want to know. If you guys as a community would be willing to pitch in to help us get more people there and get more video there. Because, we'd love to go to the Lemieux fight in Canada. We'd love to go to New York. But a lot of this shit, honestly, is expensive as hell, man. To stay in New York is expensive. Hotel and flight costs close to $3,000. And that's what's sending myself and Constantino and pay the guys that are there in New York. Same thing going to Montreal. It costs a lot of money, and we are still independent and independently run, and the revenue that we get is still very much based on the traffic we get from videos. So I just wanted to see out there if you guys as a community would be willing to help us out just a little bit if you want us to go to these fights, or if there's a fight you guys want us to go to, if you guys would be willing to come together as a community and be like, hey, here, we're helping out. Yeah, it's a little bit, but it helps offset the cost. Get your asses over there, Fight Hub. Go cover this fight in New Zealand or in England or in France or wherever the hell it is. So I just wanted to see your guys' feedback on that. If you guys would be willing to help us out when it comes to this sort of stuff, to just get you guys more videos and get more event coverage from these fights that are not easily accessible to us due to price and all that. So just want to throw that out there. See, maybe I'll start up a Patreon or a crowdfunding to see if we could get some help getting to this fight in Montreal. Will there be a press conference for Lomachenko-Rigondeaux? Yes, there will be. But on the week of the fight, it'll be the only press conference and the only face-off between the two guys. All right, guys, I gotta go. It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I got a lot of fucking work to do. So, yes, thank you for tuning into this live chat. Very good. Follow us at Fight Up TV, at Hey It's Marcos V. We're gonna go see Sergey Kovalev tomorrow, and then I'm working on a few things too. Expecting unboxing this weekend with shoes that are made from Michelin tires. Yeah, kind of weird. You're gonna have to tune in. This Saturday we unbox our next item, and we got a lot of stuff coming up in this week as well. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. As always, very grateful to you guys, and have a good rest of your week. Be productive, get shit done, make moves, and most importantly, be nice to each other. All right? Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Signing off.